So today we're going to be looking at the area of rectangles and triangles. So let's think about the area of a rectangle first. So here we have a rectangle and each of these squares is 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre. So if we were to count the squares, what is the length of the rectangle? Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 centimetres long. How many rows of 9 squares can the breadth hold? So the breadth is this distance here. So how many rows of 9 are there? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 rows in total. Okay. So then the area of the rectangle is given by 9 times 4 because there's 9 squares along the bottom making up the 9 centimetres and there's 4 rows in total. So 9 times 4 gives us 36 squared centimetres. So that is the area of this shape. So then we can use this to help us think about a formula. So the formula for the area of a rectangle is area equals length times breadth. So we've found the length, which is 9, and we've times it by, multiplied it by the breadth. So area equals length times breadth. Or we could say A equals L times B for short. And this is the formula we're going to use. So let's look at the first example. Find the area of the shape below. We can't just simply count all the squares. We're going to use our formula. So area of a rectangle is equal to L times B, length times breadth. The length is 8 and the breadth is 3, so area equals 8 times 3, which gives us 24 square centimetres. And we're measuring in centimetres to make sure our area units reflect that. So let's look at a second example. Our length was the longer side here and our breadth was the shorter side, but it might be the other way around. That's absolutely fine. So we're still going to use area equals length times breadth. This time area equals 8.1 times 7.2. It doesn't really matter which way you put these round because technically when you're multiplying 2 times 4, it's the same as 4 times 2. It doesn't matter which way you put them round. So we've got 8.1 times 7.2, and you can pop that into a calculator to give you 58.32 squared centimetres. Important things here are writing down your formula, substituting into the formula, and making sure you've got your units, the correct units for your answer. If you could copy those examples down, and if you need to pause here, that's absolutely fine. But moving on to the next slide is some questions for you to try. So find the area of the rectangles below, and you're going to be using the formula A equals L times B. So pause here, and when you unpause, I will give you the answers. Okay, so first one, you should have 24 square centimetres. Second one, 60 square centimetres. Then 50.4 squared centimetres, and lastly 55.8 squared centimetres. So well done if you got all 4 of those correct. So that is the area of a rectangle. You might be asked to apply that, calculating the area of a rectangle. This is showing you how you might apply that. So let's say you're buying a new carpet. And carpet costs £14.80 per square metre. Okay, so if you were to go into a carpet shop, the prices given are per square metre. So in order for you to know how much you're going to pay, you need to know the size of the room that the carpet's been fitted to. So calculate how much it would cost for a carpet to carpet the room shown below. So firstly, we need to calculate the area of carpet required. So area equals length times breadth. So we've got area is 8.6 times 5, which would give us 43 square metres. So now we know that the total area of the room is 43 square metres, and we know it's £14.80 per square metre. So to find the cost, we're going to multiply those together to give us £636.40, and that's how much it would cost to carpet the room. So this is using our knowledge of how to calculate the area of a rectangle, and we're applying it to a particular question. So if you could pause the video here and try this one. So calculate the cost of reglazing each of the broken windows, given that glass costs £13.50 per square metre. So we're just calculating the cost of this one window that's been broken, and the glass cost £13.50 per square metre to replace. So can you please calculate the cost? Okay, so first we need to know the area of the window to start with. So we can see the actual glass is 2.5 metres by 1.8 metres. So area equals length times breadth. We're going to multiply those two together to give us 4.5 square metres. And we know the cost is £13.50 per square metre. If we've got 4.5 square metres, we can multiply those together to give us £60.75. So well done if you got that one right. Okay, so now let's think of the area of a triangle. So far we've looked at the area of a rectangle. Here we have a right angle triangle. So what shape is this triangle half of? So we've halved a shape. We can create a rectangle out of it. Okay, so if we add the same shape on the other side, we've created a rectangle. And what is the area of a rectangle? Well, it's length times breadth, which is 8 times 5. If we were to calculate the area of this whole rectangle, we would do 8 times 5 to give us 40 units. But we know that the triangle is half of that. So what is the area of a triangle? Well, it's got to be half of 40, doesn't it? So the area equals a half times 40. So we're halving that to give us 20, and then whatever the units are squared. Therefore, the formula for the area of a triangle is half times length times breadth. However, when we're talking about triangles, we're going to be using, instead of length and breadth, we're going to be using base times height. So the base is 8 and the height is 5. So the area of a triangle, for short, is A equals half base times height. So area equals half BH. So this is how we can write it shorthand. Now let's look at a couple of examples. So the first one, find the area of this shape below. We're going to start by writing down your formula. Area equals half times B times H, base times height. So if our base is 10 and our height is 3, we're going to multiply them together. If you were using a calculator, you can stick in 0.5 that represents a half. So if you're using a calculator, you could do 0.5 times 10 times 3. You won't need a calculator for this one, but for trickier questions you could. So 10 times 3 is 30, half of that is 15 squared centimetres. Let's look at a second example. So slightly different. This was really straightforward to pick out that 10 is the base and 3 is the height, but our second one is not a right angle triangle. And when you're picking out the base, okay, it's the flat side, whatever its side is, and then the height is from the base up to the highest point of the triangle. So here we've got the base is 8, and then from the base up to the highest point, that is 3 metres. And we're still going to use the same formula for every triangle. Area equals half times B times H. The base is 8, the height is 3. So we're going to substitute that into our equation and then calculate that to be 12 squared metres. Okay, so whatever the base is, the height is the length from the base up to the highest point of the triangle. Okay, your turn. I just want to point, before you pause, I would like to point out that the height, like I keep saying, at the base, for the first example, it says 8, and the height is from the base up to the highest point of the triangle. A common mistake people often make is they take one of the sides as the height. Okay, that's a diagonal line. It's not going from the base up to the highest point. So your height has to be a straight line going up. Okay, so if I pause the video here and calculate the area of the following triangles. Okay, so first one is half times base times height, so half times 8 times 4 to give you 16 square centimetres. Second one, half times 8 times 7 to give you 28 square centimetres. Bottom one, red one, sorry, it's squint, but if you imagine the base to be 5, from the base, your height is straight along up to the highest point of your triangle. So you could essentially flip that round for 5 to be the base. So half times 4 times 5 times 14 gives you 35 square centimetres. And last one, half times 7 times 12 to give you 42 squared centimetres.